My 35M partner, 34F, cheated and ran off with the new guy, 31M, and now has issues keeping a roof over her head. Hello everyone. Writing this on mobile, please forgive formatting errors. I was in a decade-long relationship with the person mentioned in the title. We have a child together who is in first grade. Recently, I discovered she was siphoning from our daughter's money I would put away every month, school fees and savings, as well as using her salary to fund expensive hotel/guesthouse stays with one of her employees under the guise of work. I called her out on this as soon as I'd found out, and her new guy's reaction was to send people to my house. She gave him the address, I would later find out, to clean up everybody living in it, for lack of better terms. I wouldn't include this if not a necessary part of the story. Please forgive if it treads any lines with the sub-rules. Her reaction to that? I antagonized him by confronting her, so no foul in her book. I am blowing it out of proportion despite multiple voice notes and text messages. I kicked her out of the house due to obvious danger in this, and her new guy cannot help her with a place to stay. Without giving too much away, she earns less than half of what I do and he earns a quarter of what she does. She's currently couch surfing around her friends/relatives' places while he allegedly lives with his mother in a studio apartment. Recently, she's contacted me to ask me to co-sign on a lease with her as she doesn't have any other options, and while I want to help her because I care about her, I also feel she has made her own bed and should lay in it alone, or with that guy. The consequence of all this up and down is that legally, he's not allowed anywhere near our daughter anymore, so the two of them moving in together would likely mean she cannot see our daughter anywhere that isn't neutral ground because I don't want her at my place. She knows this, and this is partially why she asked for my help, as if the other guy signs with her, he will want to move in with her. Should I feel bad and help her out? Should I tell her this is her doing and leave her to her own devices? Terribly conflicted. What do I do, guys? Update. Thank you for your advice, everyone. There are simply too many comments to respond to them all. I have a small update to share with you. I'll make a full-blown post probably a week or so from now depending on how things go. My now ex has voluntarily checked into a shelter/home for women whose lives have come off the rails tonight, and after speaking with them, they've assured me that she is indeed there tonight and that they test for drugs as part of the admission process and as part of the ongoing board/lodging requirements. It warms my heart somewhat that she understands that she needs help. This covers the roof over her head temporarily and makes sure she is on the straight and narrow for the next little while. I think it may be too late to salvage our relationship and trust, but I wish her the best in recovery. Lastly, someone here has reached out to me who knows me in real life, as this story is a big deal in my local community. They've pointed out that the AP/junkie/whatever is indeed among the comments here, and I hope he too is learning from the responses of others about being a decent human being. Thank you, everyone. Ex-wife, 38F, married my 37M, best friend, 35M. It's killing me and destroyed my marriage. I, 37M, have been with my wife, 26F, for 5 years and married 4 years. We have 3 kids from her previous relationships, 2 boys and 1 girl between the ages of 5 and 8. I really love her and her kids. Things were perfect until 3 or 4 months ago. I've had 3 big promotions in 5 years. We bought a house last year. She stays home with the kids and is trying to make a social media career happen. I have always been on the fence about having kids, but she really wanted us to have one together, so I agreed to try to have my vasectomy reversed. She's 7 months pregnant now. We were so fucking happy. My ex-wife, 38F, divorced me in 2019 and moved about 2 hours away a few months into the pandemic. Our divorce was amicable, but once it was finalized, I never heard from her again, even when I would wish her well on birthdays and holidays. I even sent her a graduation gift when I heard that she finished her PhD program. Other people in our social circle, including my parents and sister-in-law who sent her a gift, received handwritten thank you cards. I didn't get so much as a text. My ex-wife is a really kind and thoughtful person, and the woman I knew would have at least sent a thank you text if her worst enemy sent her a gift. Even though we broke up, I didn't think she hated me. My best friend, 35M, and I were best friends since college. He's the best person I know, and at least 10 people think he's their best friend, but he said that I was his always. We kind of lost touch during the pandemic. We live 2 hours apart, and he is a lawyer and teaches classes at a university, so he is really busy. I have a really busy career and a new wife and 3 kids. I didn't really realize that the texts between us were fewer, and that the last time he finally replied to me was in late 2021. He also falls off the face of the earth when he gets with a new girl, and then when things cool off, we all hear from him more. We have always been the kind of friends that could go an extended period of time without communicating and then pick up right where we left off. I kept saying that I would eventually call him when things were less busy. My wife and I went to visit the city he and my ex-wife live in last summer for a week, and I tried calling him a couple of times to meet up, but he never answered. I was sad but just figured he was busy with work or obsessed with a new girlfriend. I have other friends there, so I got to see them. Then I went to the city again by myself in October for a Halloween party. I figured he'd be at this party and I was psyched that I'd get to see him then. He was there. When I went to say hi and hug him, he looked a little surprised and gave me a weak hug. I told him that I was there during the summer and that I tried calling him so we could hang out. He just said, "Yeah, I was on my honeymoon that week. Sorry, I didn't get back to you." I was really shocked to hear that he'd gotten married and a little hurt that my best friend got married without me even knowing he had a serious girlfriend, but still happy for him. Like I said, he was a great guy and girls love him. I spit out a rush of questions, like who is she, where is she, what's her name, what's she like, where'd you meet her, how long have you been together? He paused for a moment and then just bluntly said, "It's ex-wife's name." My ex-wife doesn't have a unique name or anything, but it isn't the most common name either, and instantly I knew that it was her. I can't describe how it felt to hear those two words come out of his mouth. I felt sick to my stomach and I immediately wanted to die. I have never felt like that before. I just said, "What the fuck?" He told me that I didn't get to be mad because I broke her heart and they didn't start dating until 2 years after we got divorced, and that I chose to be with some waitress anyway. I drank the rest of the weekend because it was the only way I was able to sleep. I feel betrayed by both of them. My best friend since I was 20 years old married my ex-wife behind my fucking back. I was married to her for 6 years and they were never even friends, and now they are in love with each other. I also found out that he talked shit about my current wife and me behind my back and never liked her. I went back home and I know that I was distant with my wife and the kids because I was just hurting so much. After a couple of weeks, we had a big fight and she called me out on being distant and accused me of cheating. I finally came clean and told her about my ex and my best friend, which she scoffed about and said she'd known about them for a long time now because of social media. I flew into a rage and we fought for hours. She betrayed me by not telling me the entire time she knew. She didn't say anything when I mentioned my best friend not returning my calls or messages. I didn't get to sleep before going to work, and after work I just stayed with my parents for a few days. When I finally went back home, we got into another fight where she accused me of still being in love with my ex and said that I wouldn't care if I wasn't. I called her stupid and said that she wouldn't understand because she doesn't have any friends. I wouldn't care if my ex-wife got married to anyone else if it wasn't my best friend. I don't see what is so hard to understand about that. We made up eventually, but I feel sick to my stomach every day and things aren't the same in our relationship. I love my wife, but I've come to realize it's not the same way I loved my ex-wife. My wife doesn't love me the same way my ex-wife did either. I have started to regret the things that led to our divorce because we were really happy until the moment she left me. I don't even have my best friend to call because he's too busy fucking my ex-wife to care about me anymore. Everything feels empty and like a lie now. A lot of friends agree that they both betrayed me but think I need to move on. Even my dad and brother told me to get over it. My sister-in-law yelled at me and my mom tries to comfort me, but I know she's overhearing about my problems. I have to pretend I'm okay, but I'm not. No one gives a shit about mental health when it comes to men. I bought up couples therapy to my wife, but she said that she thinks we are okay since we worked through things. Guess I have to pretend for the rest of my life now because divorce is not on the table. I need advice on what to do and how to get closure. I am thinking of driving to their city to just show up and force them to talk to me so I can move on. Is that too much to ask? How do I get my wife to see that it is hard to trust her after knowing she kept a big secret from me for a long time? TLDR, the 3 people I loved the most outside of my blood family ripped my heart out. My wife knew about my best friend being in a relationship with my ex-wife and didn't tell me. Best friend ghosted me around the time he started dating my ex-wife. Ex-wife is still friendly with my family and mutual friends, but not me. My 33F, ex-husband's 36M, girlfriend, 36F, of 3 years is an absolute nut. How can I keep my kids safe from her without being the bad guy? Yesterday, I heard my 13-year-old daughter on the phone with her dad's girlfriend talking about her dad and brother. His girlfriend was telling my daughter that her dad was hitting things in the kitchen because they were fighting the night before. It was over my son, 11, and how his relationship with his dad is always the source of their fights, and she's tired of it. She was saying she's tired of her dad and tired of being treated like shit by him. Maybe I was wrong for doing this, I don't know, but I figured it would be better for him to talk to his girlfriend rather than me. She is extremely volatile and is one of those people that screams in faces pointing her finger during an argument. My daughter once sent me a video of them fighting and she kicked him out of the car and was screaming out the window. I have always tried to be civil towards her, and I even agreed to watch her kids for an entire week so they didn't have to miss work when school was out. Even though my husband now did not understand why I would watch her kids, I did because I felt like it was the right thing to do since I was home. Anyways, I texted my ex and just said that I would talk to our daughter and could he please talk to his girlfriend about not using our daughter to vent about their relationship problems. That it puts unnecessary stress on her and she shouldn't be worried about that type of stuff. Later on that evening, she texted me. Like the unhinged person she is, she threatened to handle me and I have it coming. My husband is a martial arts instructor in the Marines and he has taught myself and my children to defend ourselves and fighting techniques. I am not worried about myself, but she has a deep dislike for my son and constantly complains about him screaming at his dad about how she can't stand him. I asked my daughter if I could look at their messages and she agreed. There were hundreds and hundreds of messages from his girlfriend that were inappropriate. Things such as asking my daughter to push him to propose to her, sending her pictures of a bruise he supposedly put on her, paragraphs of complaining about my son and how annoying he is with his dad and how she wishes he would stop coming over, complaining that she pays more bills than my ex, how my ex treats her kids poorly but treats her and her brother like royalty, asking about our marriage when together and all his girlfriends after that, like how he was with us, etc. But she also told my daughter that she was going to come to our house and drag me out of the house and beat me down. Technically, she can't do this. We live on base and she does not have access. My daughter was not completely innocent. She was responding with gossip too. But, she's 13. A lot of messages to my daughter started with, "I know you're just 13 and I shouldn't be complaining to you, but..." Of course, she also has my daughter believing that myself and her dad and brother are jealous of their relationship. I personally want my ex-husband to be happy and treated well along with our kids by whoever he dates. It is irritating to see her talk the way she does to him in front of our kids and her own kids. I want my kids to have a good relationship with whoever he dates. I want to be able to trust that person. But this is not the case. He has had ex-girlfriends that I really liked because they were normal and didn't try to make him choose between them and the kids. I also found out through their messages that her dad caught her at a drug house. Yes, she actually admitted this to a child. I could go on and on about the absurdness of these messages. So I need some advice. I have full custody so I don't have to let them go over there, but they do enjoy spending time with their dad. He lives with this nut. I have some fear that she will hurt my kids, especially my son, to try to hurt his dad or because she is so irrational. Plus, there is a lot of drinking and possible drug use over there, I now know. If I tell them they can't go over there, my daughter will not understand it's for their safety. My ex-husband is similar to his girlfriend and he will give me a hard time and try to tell me kids that I'm keeping them from him for reasons other than the truth. I've already made up my mind that they can see their dad but not at his house. If his girlfriend is going to be there, it has to be in public setting. How do I navigate this when explaining to my kids? My son probably won't care as he hates his dad's girlfriend, but my daughter thinks that his girlfriend is her friend and that she can trust her. Obviously I've told her otherwise, but I don't think I'm getting through to her. I'm also going to schedule an appointment with a family therapist for us after I know how much they've been exposed to. My husband is leaving for a 6-month deployment and I will be alone to deal with this with crazy woman, and I have my older kids plus 3 toddler multiples.